The Father's Day edition of The Cut is brought to you by NCB.
This episode of The Cut was filmed at the Men's Grooming Lounge.
I could feel a little tension that was in the relationship, and I feel when the tension break and the chains unlock.
It's nothing but love, man.
It's nothing but love. And
tough love is still love.
Tough love is still love. Tough love is still love. I want my children to know that too. You know, that tough love is still love.
Always want to prove a point. Now we're contemplating another junction in life. We live with our decisions. It all come down to choice. I made use of my opportunity. Now I'm where I want to be.
Welcome to The Cut, presented by NCB. Tonight we are cutting beneath the surface to explore something deep. The way a father's wisdom becomes a lifelong compass, quietly guiding values, decisions, destinies, and dynasties. We're sitting down with two incredible father-child duos, Gary Whittaker Sr. and Gary Whittaker Jr., Lucy-based entrepreneurs running thriving businesses from fitness to fuel. And to my right, we have Canute and Shona Sadler, the powerhouse duo behind Stanmark Processors, shaping Jamaica's agro-processing industry for years now. How many years are you in business now?
Well, Cummins started in 1991, so we started there with the acquisition of Fletcher Bowman Limited, which was an ongoing business.
Okay.
So we say the factory has been in agro-processing for over 50 years.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. And how many businesses do you guys have to give your attention on a daily basis? Because it's businesses I say, because it's an enterprise, it's a franchise.
Yes, well, we have several businesses. As you mentioned before, we're in the fueling space, from the service station to what we do is fueling for construction, haulage, and we're also in the fitness space as well.
Okay.
And I'm also in the coaching business as well because I'm into performance coaching as well. So you said which business I focus on a day-to-day basis? It depends. I used to like the saying that it depends on the time you ask me, you know.
I get you.
Yes.
And Junior, you are a big part of the business as well. Do you involve yourself in all of the businesses?
Well, yes, I'm in all of the businesses right now, but the main one that I focus on a day-to-day is the rapid on-site refueling. So that's what I manage on a day-to-day business, but I still help out with the other ones.
Okay, and I do my research and I realized that you're a part of the KC cult as well.
Yes.
No, just kidding. But it is kind of a cult though.
KC old boy, man. Purple for life, you know?
Purple for life.
I should have gone to Cornwall still, but...
Yeah. You did Cornwall as well?
Yeah, Cornwall old boy, yeah.
What? Okay, nice, man. And we save the best for last, because it really should be a lady before plenty men. But
It's all right.
Yes.
So, and Shona, you are a part of the business. Were you always interested in agriculture?
So my dad has always been in agriculture. Growing up, he used to import yams and pumpkin to the United States. So I've always grown up around a lot of agricultural produce, eat healthy at night to go to sleep. My mom used to make, soup, pumpkin soup for us at night. And so I came back to Jamaica in 2003 because I studied in the States. Mm-hmm. And that's when I got involved, like on a day-to-day basis with Stanmark Processors, which at the time was one factory in St. Thomas, which we now have 4 factories island-wide.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Sir Canute, you're the elder here, You're the big man, yes,
Well, yes.
And you're going to be 84 this year.
84, July 10th.
July 10th, right around the corner?
Yes, around the corner.
Okay, so
Stored away.
And you wake up every day and go to work same way?
Yes, man. I always tell my friends and family that when I don't get up, I'm 6 foot down.
Yeah. So you said no plans of retirement or nothing like
No,
that?
no, I don't have any plans to retire as such, you know. I feel, however, though, that I'll run the business for another year or two. Apart from the day-to-day activities, and I'll just pass it on to my daughter
Yeah.
and other management that we are now putting in place.
Right. So you feel like you've instilled enough, imparted enough on her for her to take up the reins now?
Well, if they can't manage it, no, God help them.
I love that. And I was reading where you were at a crossroads in life as a young man, where you made a decision to either choose business or sports. So you are a proper sportsman.
Well, yes, I wouldn't say it wasn't so much of a choice. I started agriculture very early in life because I'm from a family of farmers. My father was a farmer.
Okay.
And we have about 49 acres of land in the country. At that point, a man with 49 acres of land is considered wealthy. So we grew up all around. There's several of us. We grew up in the farm. And I went to agricultural school, which is Nakalva at the time, back in 1950, where I studied agricultural science. And from there I went to the School of Agriculture, which further studied at the University of Missouri. So just about all my life, most of the life, has been involved in agriculture.
So where the sports come in?
Well, as a student in sports, you're interested in track and field.
Okay.
Yeah, and at one point I felt I would have made the Olympic team in 1964.
Oh yeah, say. Okay. So
Yeah.
what was your?
When intercollegiate sport was most interesting in my time. It was a big rivalry between CAS, UWI, School of Agriculture, and of course Michael.
Okay.
So as a country boy, I learned to run. I know to run from in the country. And when you went to college, you just keep running.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did all the training on my own. We didn't have specialized training and tracks like what you have today, but I love the sport, and I follow the sport up to now.
Yeah. And this was before the Jamaica glory days, but there were obviously icons them time there too.
Yeah, there were good days, but not like today.
Yeah.
Today is more professional.
Yeah.
Those days was all amateur sports.
Yeah.
Nobody got paid.
Yeah.
And you make choices when you're in school or colleges to decide whether or not you're going to concentrate on sports or you're going to study. My time I had to study, so that's where the concentration went.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier when we were talking that you went to CAS.
Yes,
But
I
when you
did.
say CAS, that be you age yourself a little bit, you know.
Very much,
But
yes,
you
yeah.
don't look like an elder. I'm not telling a lie now. I don't know if it's a fitness part of it, if you're there in the gym every day or what, but you don't have that senior look about you, like you didn't get to work early, because how can you have a 28-year-old and look so fresh and young?
Well, I usually joke that it's a high school experiment that went wrong. Yeah, but you know, it's one of those things in life. Life is all about resilience, and things happen that you sometimes don't plan for. And yes, you know, you have to figure your way back. But the truth is, yes, I pay a lot of attention now to making sure that I pay attention to my health. And it's more longevity, and not fitness and longevity is what I'm into. And that's also one of the reasons too that I actually went into coaching as well. So funny enough, the main reason why I went into it was always to coach my family and friends, but then I was told that that was actually the wrong reason to do it. So then now I have to transition outwards. But I mean, it's all about growing and self-development and, you know, finding what works, yes?
Yeah.
You would have lost your dad, your biological father, at the age of 13.
13, correct, yes.
And you say your stepfather would have stepped into your life later on.
Correct, yes.
And also impart a lot of lessons. I think that's an important takeaway to know that not all father figures are biological fathers.
That's correct.
Right? So
Yes.
was he the first person to instill entrepreneurial mindset?
Interestingly, my mom's second husband after my dad, right? He was an entrepreneur. I didn't learn a lot from him because I was very young at the time, but just being around him and that kind of activity actually spurred my interest in business. But after I became much more aware and started to understand things, unfortunately, my mom and him separated. But I had another stepfather, and he was much more instrumental. Interestingly enough, he's from Westmoreland as well. And he actually taught me a lot of the things that I know from business, which he also learned by trial and error, right? And most of us, well, I went and studied business at CAST and COMC. And funny enough, also did business trial and error, and then made all the mistakes, did all the stuff, and then realized that there had to be an easier way too, you know? And again, that's where the transition in.
How many children do you have?
2 boys.
2 boys, okay. 2 boys, all right.
That's a very interesting question. I hear that again, a question a lot.
Yeah, no, the 2 boys manageable, but Canute, 4 girls and a boy?
Four girls and a boy.
How you deal with that?
It's a great feeling. When you have the girls around you, you feel good.
Yeah.
My one son is great. You know, he has done very well for himself. He's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And he probably has one of the largest truck parts distribution business by name of Fleet Master.
Okay.
Probably my friend there buy parts from him too. Anybody you see with a truck buy parts from my son.
Wow.
And he's doing very well.
That's awesome, man.
The girls are doing great. My daughter here is with the company. One daughter is her sister, immediate sister, is a doctor. She's a dentist. We had a big business in Boston. One is a teacher and one is an investment banker.
Okay,
So they are doing good.
So one out of the lot
Yes.
came into the business with
Yes.
you. So what was your concept? Did you have a vision for all of them, or was the concept give them the freedom to make the choice on their own?
Yes, that is how it is.
Or did you have to groom one of them to come into at least one?
I didn't. My philosophy is to educate the children and give them a sound education,
Right.
and let them make their own choices. And that is what I did. Gave them the base and gave them the academic choices, and that's what they all did, and they've done well for themselves. So she decided, when she was doing her master's, that she was coming in the business. And I didn't say anything. I said, yes, come. She probably think the work was easy.
Yeah.
And she realized that.
Definitely not easy.
Shona, do you have any regrets going into the agro-processing business?
No, I have no regrets. I came in with my eyes wide open. I mean, my dad, as he says, he has 4 girls and 1 boy. So, I mean, he's definitely treated like the king in our household, in everyone's lives. And so when I graduated from school, I made that choice to come home. I mean, he would say no. He said, don't bother, stay up there, do what, don't come into the business. Because at that time, it was really difficult starting in the business because we were not where we are right now. I mean, it was a struggle.
Well, let's tell them we didn't have any money.
We were broke, yeah? And so, after, going away and, seeing what was happening here, I was like, I can't not come and help, at least try for a year or 2, and we see how it works. And I never left.
But you had an interest in theater at some point.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, you know who we know in common.
Yes,
and she's very big in theater. So we met in high school in our drama club.
Oh.
So I used to be into drama. So when I started college, I was saying, okay, I want to minor in acting, or I want to do acting. and theater because I wanted to be on Broadway. That was the dream, you know.
Okay.
But I mean, my dad, you know, talked some sense into me and was like, hey, you know, do this as well. Study business at least. And I've always thought, growing up, you know, seeing my parents in business, because they've always been in business. This is just one of the businesses that they've had. They've been in appliance sales, they've been in furniture sales, they've been in, most of it is sales, if you think about it, agricultural produce sales, but it's always providing a need for someone else, right? And so I've always grown up with that, you know, I need to be able to do something that I'll make a difference, that I'll satisfy a need, and that will give me an intrinsic value outside of just, you know, pushing a button from point A to point B, or, you know, just working, you know? And so coming home at that time, it felt right, it felt good. And working with him for the past XYZ how much years, which we're not going to say the number, because then everybody will know my age, but has been a blessing, you know?
That's great, that's great. So Gary Jr., aeronautical engineering was on the cards at a point. Are you still using that discipline? Are you still using that education?
Well, not really, but I mean, growing up, that was my dream actually, to become an aeronautical engineer. I remember when I went to prep school, into high school, that was just my dream, nothing else, just engineering. I got into some schools abroad from lower six to how dedicated I was to become an aeronautical engineer. But funny story, even though. But so I got into a few schools and we decided to go to FIT, that's Florida Tech. And I remember the week, I never forget this moment in my life, the week that I was actually supposed to go. So you can see Daddy laughing. He called and said, boy, him change his mind, him now send me away again.
Really?
So,
no, man, tell yourself, these fathers, you know.
They're very, when they put their foot down to say, hey, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important. It's important for fathers to, you know, understand where the next move is, because this is my child, right? So this is what we've been doing. We've been nurturing you. We've been understanding your strengths, your weaknesses. We've been navigating ourselves in the world. And it's like it just comes to a point where you have to make decisions and, you know, be that sounding post, be that guiding, you know, voice, right? So, wow, that is interesting. And I hear that the first job that you had for your father, you never even get paid for work. Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah. You tell me, say, no, go follow my thing, go foreign and I stay with you. And my first job, I not even get paid. But it's an important lesson sometimes to learn that you have to work from the ground up in the businesses, right?
You know, that's a very interesting story, but I don't think he told you all of it. And,
yes, I'm not going to tell everything.
And I see you understand. And one of the things is that, I'll say this, and I'm just putting this out to your audience in general, is that if you say it's your dream, you're going to be insistent and you're going to do what it takes to get it. And the first no is not going to stop you.
No.
And it's interesting because I gave him an option and said, all right, it's your dream, your thing, no problem there, but let's start here. You know, show me that you have the discipline to do the thing, and then I will have enough confidence to let you go on your own. So it was really a matter of him just showing me that he could manage on his own. But he didn't tell you that he was the one who decided not to
go.
But I mean, with all due respect, I know that was his. And looking back to some of the times I thought, looking back, there's always this thing, maybe I should have, and you would have figured out how to fly. So that is always in the back of my head. But one of the things I'll also say, though, is that I think where he's at, he still has his option. So, you know, nothing.
And still young.
Yeah, very, yes.
let me ask you, and this is for the children. And when I say children, it's big people, but
Yeah.
they are children. Was there a moment when you realized that Daddy wasn't just raising, I'm asking both of you, Daddy wasn't just raising me, but he was mentoring me for life? Was there a moment when you figured that out?
When I was here, I sat beside him every day, and I listened, and I observed, and I took notes, and I just, just tried and sucked it in, But it's when I went away and was on my own and had to really try and make it, obviously with his guidance, because every day I call, every 4 phone bill high, calling back. But it was when I was there that it became explicitly clear to me that everything is happening. The sitting beside him and the driving around with him and the, wake up in the morning and we just talking and just listening, not just hearing everything that's happening, was him making a conscious effort, allowing me in the space to show me the ropes, without necessarily having to say, do this, do that,
Yeah. Passing on the tools that you'll need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Dad.
Well, too, you live, and your children are going to see how you live. And with all of this, what we're talking about could not have been achieved without my wife.
Yes.
She's not here with us tonight, but I would say she plays the most important role in the whole process. Because married to her for over 40 years. And she's been the guiding force behind just about everything.
Yeah.
And when you're married good, it's the best thing that ever happened to you.
That's true.
I can tell you that.
That's true.
I live it and I experience it.
And it is important because having a father at the helm of businesses, building companies, building enterprises, means that they have a split in time between being at home and building what they're building for the family. Was there ever a time where you would wonder, oh, Daddy's so busy, where is Daddy? But now it's clearer to you what he was doing?
Well, I have to touch back a little bit because I have to defend myself a little bit.
Going back to the story.
No, man, talk your truth.
Speak
your truth, man. Speak your truth and represent yourself.
The part of the story was he decided that I must go to school out here and do engineering and then after go to school abroad and do it. But when I went to U out here at the time, it wasn't accredited. So I was like, I basically wasting my time.
Oh, okay.
So, it's like, boy, this is not going to work out.
Yeah.
And so that was the reason why I just said, boy, this not make sense. So we had a family meeting actually, and they asked me, if you don't want to do engineering, what would be your next thing? And I was like, boy, the only other thing I know is business. Because funny enough, my mom's side of the family is in business. Don't know if you guys know Brand Studio.
Yes, I know.
If we know Brand
Yes,
Studio.
man.
If you
Who
never
doesn't
take a
know it?
picture down a Brand Studio, you never did that. Really?
Right. So
Okay, so that's mom's side of the
mom's side, and then dad, well, my dad's mom, which is my grandma, I know her in business and I know daddy in business. So I said, boy, that's the only other thing I know.
Okay.
So that's when daddy said, well, if you want to do business, come to move to Mobile and live with me. So that's where that story went.
Okay.
And then at the time, to be honest, we never had a great relationship at the time, I must be honest with you. Growing up, I remember my football games because I was a big football fan. He never used to come, and at the time I was one of the stars then, but he never used to come and even come on one game. And you're excited because it's the one game you see, but I never understood at the time that he had to work so hard. And it's growing up and hearing him speak and saying that to send me to school, you had to be working after 12 o'clock, washing kitchens and all of them stuff there. And, when I reach older now, I say, in the businesses, I was like, boy, when I reach home late, 11, 12 o'clock, I said, now I understand.
I love how you carry it right back around and answer the question that I asked you before you pass on the question. I read somewhere that a wise man once said, your salary is based on results. And I'm going to ask you, Gary Jr., because Gary Sr. made that quote. Knowing him as a businessman, what does that mean to you?
Well, funny enough, I actually have this on my Instagram as well, that when I finished college, because at the time when I did business, I said, boy, I did a management major and a marketing major. I gave one to my dad and gave one to my mom and said, these are your degrees. And then after that, I started to, well, I was there at the house, I remember, with Daddy, and one of his managers went on maternity leave. And he said that, boy, if you can help, well, if you want to come help out until she come back and then until you figure out what you want to do. Because he never really wanted me in the business, and I said I never really wanted to work for him. So at the time I said, all right, then no problem. It was a summer. So I said, all right, I just take it to figure it out. And I went to work. And I remember the first paycheck I got was about $20,000 for a fortnight. And I was like, I have a degree, $20,000. So I was like, this don't make it. But I said, you know what, it's just 3 months until I figure it out. So when the lady came back, you know, the salary never changed. So I said, oh, this don't make no sense. I remember I went home one day to him and I said, yo, Dad, you know, I have a degree. All my other friends, they're making 200, 300,000 out of college. And yeah, give me, basically it was I think close to 50,000 for the month. And that is before tax. Before tax. So he was saying that, yeah, you have a degree, but what else? So, I mean, at that point I was like, boy, the degree don't really mean anything. So I remember that, well, I started to work, and then I had to start from, you know, pumping gas in the store, doing the runarounds. And then I went back to him after and I said, you know, what's going on for the salary? And he said, boy, you know, I'm not seeing the results that I want to see. So at that point, I remember having conversation with my mom, my grandma, everybody. And I said, boy, your father for this pay, you're good and done. But I remember at that time, I got discouraged, to be honest with you. And he had a conversation that, you know, he said, boy, if you're not going to put out, I'm going to fire because, you know, you're here for a reason. So I got a little boost from that, started to put more effort in. I got a little salary boost after that, but it still wasn't anything to, you know, run home to. At the time, I remember going back to him and said, boy, you don't have any expenses. Because I was living with him, I never pay for gas. I had a car, so I said, you don't have any expenses. So I was like, no, sir. So I'm sorry, then I forgot to move out.
Yeah. Get some
expenses. So, you know, I moved out, and after that, I think we're having some issues at work. We had a conversation again, and he was like, you know, I'm not seeing the effort that you're putting in, because one thing with him is he sets his expectations really high, and that has done a lot for me to let me know that, boy, I can't play at the average level, you know. So that was there, and as I said, I tried. He had the conversation and said that, boy, if this not go work out, I'm going to have to send you home or you go find something else to do. Yeah. And I was like, boy, I forgot to make up my mind. So after that, you know, COVID came around, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to put in some work. And it's after putting in the work now that he actually starts to give me more benefits, more responsibilities, and more, well,
more pay.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what taught me that, you know, at the end of the day, it's not determining what you have, is basically what you deliver. Now, even running the companies, I said to my team, say, hey, I can't pay you just because of the position. I have to pay you based on the value that you bring, and that's something that he preaches every day. So
that's big. It's a big lesson, and it feels like, you know, it's tough, you know, going through the situation, but I know what you're doing. I mean, I find myself in that situation with even my son now, where I have to be like, you know what? you have to take on certain things. You have to start. You have to, as you say.
We definitely don't want any entitlement.
Entitlement and spoon feeding. That does not work. No. That will backfire. In Canute?
Yes, when you have a philosophy, the performance speak louder than words. If you don't perform, you can't get anything. And not because you're your father's son. You're entitled. It doesn't work like that. It is, you're going to put in the cat now in front of the house. It don't work like that. You have to perform first.
I love that idea because he just believes because he's come with a degree, he must start in management position.
The degree is, everybody have degree, all of us have.
Need us have a degree deodorant.
It's the work that counts. It's the work that counts. That's what you're going to look at.
So do you...
You're judged by that, and that alone.
One of the things that my dad has always said from the get-go is, which has now become the vision of our company, is enrich others. And through enriching others, you will be enriched. So I started working with a company in 2003 when we had absolutely nothing. So you talk about paying yourself and getting paid for your worth. When I say nothing, right? A motivating factor for us was always that slogan. And every time we feel like, oh my gosh, we're supposed to be getting more than we have right now. He says, listen, you need to enrich others. And from enriching everyone else, you will be enriched. And that has been something that everything that we have operated on, everything that we have done from the beginning of when I started and from the beginning of his life, that has been his motto. And from I've been young, and he's always been saying that. So I never, ever, as educated as I am and as much as I have, and what I think my worth is what I can give. How much can I give to get? You understand? And it's just how we operate as a family and how we've been able to reach to where we are as a family and succeed in this business. Because if you look at the money, you will never reach it. You'll never have enough money. You'll never, have enough things, And when you look at all the things that you could have, it's just not worth it. But you have to have that intrinsic value.
Let's say that the money will come.
Yeah, the money will come.
The money will come if you put in the work.
If you put in the work, 100%.
You know that.
No two ways
that's
around.
true.
Let me ask you something. What has your child, what have your children taught you about parenting that no book or no elder could teach you?
That's a very interesting question. And I'll answer it like this. That as a father or parent, you always want to influence your child. And we grew up under the authoritarian mindset where I tell you to do this and you respond. And nowadays, kids are a little bit different where we try to influence them by, having the conversations with them. But when I learned this, I think I learned this lesson a little bit too late, but I learned it soon enough. And it was that the best way to influence anybody is to lead by example. And so instead of telling them to do something, you do it.
Yeah, well, it's simple, Yeah, as I agree with my colleague, you will live a certain way. And your children will see exactly how you live. How you do things from day to day. And things that you're going to read in a book.
I was talking to my mother maybe like 2 years ago, and she was telling me things about their past, my father's life story, that she only felt the right to tell me at this stage. And I was like, when did I go through that?
Yep.
And we never know, but it's important for parents to protect children against certain stress and certain burden, as them see it fit going through. Yeah. So how How would you say your father's role in your life has impacted the way how you want to be a parent when your time come, of course? Because we know you're not turning me a grandfather yet. but what aspects of...
Maybe him don't know.
What aspects of fatherhood, parenting, will you definitely take from Pops?
Well, funny enough, well, just to give a little joke, he always said, if you don't have any children, you have to wait until I reach 50, because I don't want to be a grandfather before 50.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I mean, nonetheless, what you guys spoke about when I was growing up, even though he wasn't married to my mom, I have a stepmom, they never argued in front of me. And that's something that I always say, that, you know, when I have my kids, if I'm talking to a lady, I tell her, say, yo, if we're going to argue, don't argue in public, and we're not going to argue in front if we're supposed to have kids.
Yeah.
So that's something that I learned from him. That definitely I want to emulate. The next thing too is, about the hard work. I always tell, if I'm talking to a lady, I say, you're going to have kids, you know, I mean, by the time they reach probably 18, I'm sure I'll be much further in life. And, you know, I always tell them, so when they reach 18, you know, they're going to have their decision to make, whether they want to work in the business, whether they want to go to college, or whether they want to start their own business. But they have to make that decision, because what he did for me, I think I appreciated life, I appreciated money, I appreciated much things more than if when I came out of school, you know, I just had it handed to me. So that's definitely some stuff I want to emulate.
Success leaves clues, and one of the biggest thing I want him to learn is that he doesn't have to learn everything, every lesson. They always say that the fool learns from his mistake, the wise man learns from others. And all I'm saying, learn from my mistakes. Don't go make the same mistakes again.
Good.
Definitely. Well said, man. At this stage in life, what does legacy mean to you, Canute Sadler, and how is Shona helping you to build that?
Well, legacy is very important. A man doesn't want to work your life, grow up, have your children, grow up, and you pass away and there's nothing. Yeah, so you try to, first you live your life good, so that you can be remembered for how you live. And your children can see you. I'm very conscious of my children and how I live, so they see exactly how I live. So where the financial part of it is not totally that important, and it's going to be there. But the most important thing is they will remember you for how you live and how you're able to treat them and what you do for other people in your life. Because we give away a lot. We don't give it away because it's a duty to give it away. We give it because we feel good to do it. We give scholarships and students that are not fortunate. And we teach them the same things. I teach them the same thing, that when you grow up, you must be good to other people as you would like them to be good to you. So that is how I want to live with them, that they remember you for what you do and how you live your life and how you pass on things to other people so that you can make them life better off. That's why we live by that philosophy of enriching other people in order to reach yourself.
So I am very much Christian-minded, and I remember how David, in preparation for Solomon, prepared all these things to pass on to Solomon so that he could build the Jehovah's temple. And interestingly, Solomon did the same thing as well for his son. And the best thing you can do in terms of legacy is really not leaving money and assets are important, but the best thing you can do is to give them the understanding, teach them value, let them understand where value comes from, how to deliver value.
I remember when I came out to college and, just for precautionary methods, he put me on some of his accounts. And the first thing he said is, "This is my money." This is not your money.
Look at
he always said he's a philanthropist. So he always says, "Boy, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll give you the education and the assets to make more money." And that's something, as I have conversations with my friends, I should say, from time to time, I always tell them, say, there's nothing that he can do that I can be upset with him at, because the amount of information and experience that I've learned to working with him, I don't think if I'd even become an aeronautical engineer, I would have learned that. That's something that I can never regret.
Love that, I love that. Shona, in rapping, my dad, my compass for life. What that mean to you?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that my dad is like the center of a lot of things that happen in my life. He, from a young age, has always been very instrumental in ensuring that we follow a path that is appropriate. You talk about me going to school and that, he pushed me, but not, when you say push, guided me in a direction that would more be suited for not only allow me to express myself, but also be able to function in society. And I spoke specifically about as well when I went away, and how instrumental he was with assisting me and guiding me along the business I had overseas. And even being here, being with him day in, day out, especially in the beginning. No, not so much, because he has instilled a lot in me. After sitting with him for, a couple of years, just every day listening, understanding how he thinks, how decisions are made. Because you don't really get that. When you're in school, you get, okay, you should have... just like in math, 2 + 2 = 4. But you go to college, you get the arithmetic of it all, but you don't get the day-to-day, why is the decision made this way? Because there's a lot more going behind it, and how to find the right information, and how to ask the right questions, and how to listen to not just what you're hearing with the ears, but what you can see and what's happening in the environment, which allow you to make a proper decision. It's a challenge every day, and every day it's a conversation, and it's a dialogue, and it's, coming up with solutions and creating, memories and experiences, and, figuring out ways to not lose money and to make money.
Yeah. My dad, my compass for life, Gary Jr. What does that mean to you?
Well, as I said earlier, that one thing I can say with my dad is that he sets the bar really high. Right now, he is not in Jamaica much. So I'm more on the floor with the businesses. And him always saying that I need to learn. And every time I go around him, him either reading a book, listening to an audiobook, doing a program. And I was like, boy, if he's at this level in life and I'm not at that level and I'm still trying to learn, then what does that say for me? It's just that the core principles that he's setting with, that he always says that you never stop learning until the day that you die. And that is something that I'm using for myself, that just constantly trying to learn and become better each and every day.
Yes, sir. Wow. As I say, priceless gems from two powerful father-child duos. I say child, but it's big people then. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I am always trying to be a better father, and I've learned so much from deep diving into the relationships that you have with your kids. Tonight, we have seen that a father's impact isn't always loud, but it is definitely lasting. Whether it is how we lead, how we love, how we spend, how we stand tall, Our fathers shape the compass that we carry into life. To the Whitakers again, to the Sadlers, thank you for sharing not just your stories, but your truth. And really appreciate it. We are cut now, we are cut.
Okay.
At the cut, but we are cut.
The Father's Day edition of The Cut is brought to you by NCB.